Oh, hello there. This is Peavine Falls, and you can find it in Oak Mountain State Park in Pelham, Alabama. The area around the falls is truly spectacular, and there are many, many different nooks and crannies that you can explore here. Such a beautiful place should be open to experience, at least with care for the environment itself, so the beauty is preserved. A bridge crosses the stream at the top of the falls, and in 2018 I undertook the task of replacing the old bridge with a new one.
As you can see, the old bridge was in desperate need of replacing. It was over 20 years old by the time we undertook this project. The task itself was quite difficult, but in the end it was quite a fulfilling task to complete. Now, let me take you back to the time of the project, and I will tell you of one of the greatest achievements of my life.
This is the path down to the falls, and as you might be able to see from it, getting down here is no easy task. It's a really long path. And every time we wanted to come and work, we had to, hike down here with our tools and materials. Frankly, it wasn't too difficult coming down, but this hill made for some interesting walks back up with the handcart we used to move our tools. This is the bridge that we built. It's been almost 2 years since I was last up here, and it's nice to see that it's still holding together. Although the last bridge that was here a long time, so I bet this one will hold out another 10 years. Well, that's aside the point. We made the bridge using railroad ties, 2x4s, old telephone poles, and 4x4s. The process itself took about a month, with a lot of preparation time to design the bridge and plan the build. However, once we were finally ready to build the bridge, we encountered a problem.
It was impossible to move the poles down with the carts that the park staff brought them near the site with. We had to carry them by hand. The first pole was a simple matter of drilling a couple holes and slotting rebar through them, and carrying it like it was a palanquin. When this was attempted with the second pole, we found that it was far heavier than the first. It was so heavy, in fact, that upon our attempts to replicate what we did with the first pole, we bent a piece of rebar. This caused us to have to drastically adjust our plans, and we had to stop work for the day since it was the only piece of work that we could really do.
So, we had a week to find a solution to our problem, and we found it with these. These straps couldn't be bent or broken like the rebar could, and they were, with their handles, much better suited to the job than rebar. Of course, they made the job doable. They didn't make it easy. The job still took about 10 people working over the course of a half hour to move the other pole into place.
All that remained was to nail the boards to the poles so that the bridge would have a walkable surface. This was largely the easiest part of the job, but it took the longest since it required a full 2 weekends to complete. It was also at this point where we started to get some help from some of my fellow Boy Scouts. Up to this point of the project, the only members of my Boy Scout troop who had helped me were the adult leaders. With some help from my fellow Scouts, the work on the bridge became a lot easier. Now that the new bridge was done, the only thing left to do was to remove the old one. The heavy lifting of this job was done by members of the park staff, since they were the only ones who had access to a chainsaw. There wasn't a way to remove the bridge without cutting it into smaller pieces, and we also had to remove as many nails from the boards that were removed from the pieces of the poles of the old bridge.
As you have seen, the building of this bridge was quite the arduous endeavor, though in the end I believe that it was worth it. If not for the simple feeling of achievement of, building such a durable structure, then for knowing that I and everyone involved helped to preserve the pathway to view such a beautiful piece of nature for years to come.